I'm building this up, but you can see my graph over time. Again, I don't play on chess.com too often, so the graph looks like it's just going up. But okay, anyways, enough stalling. I'm going to play a game now and go to this screen and make sure I'm not on the wrong game type here. So 10-0. Here we go. Didn't mean to rhyme. Okay. Oh my God, a 2179. Well, that's a hard first game. What is like titled player level on chess.com? Isn't this getting close? Like this guy's almost 2200. Isn't that getting close to titled level? Probably not. And how come I'm hearing, do I have this open in 2 tabs? Let me be quiet and listen. I do. So I'm going to close one out. I had 2 tabs open of the same game somehow. So now I should only hear the click once. I hope, unless I screwed something up by closing it. I'm going to refresh. Yeah, I lost some time because of that. Oh, well. Chess.com's pretty buggy, I think. Let's copy him. Because I have no other idea of what to do. And somehow I got baited into playing like a King's Indian. I mean, it was an Alapin, and now it's like a King's Indian. Am I still? I feel like I'm still hearing that two clicks every time. So can I do this? I don't know. I don't know if I can. Feels like I can though. But it feels like, I'm sure, I mean, he's 2200. I'm sure he didn't drop a pawn. Right? Yeah, and then we take with the knight. Because I want him to give up his bishop for my knight if he wants to keep trading. He might just castle now. And then I don't know. How did he drop a pawn? He's 2179. That's what I don't understand. Okay. So we could pin his knight. Doesn't do much of anything. Let's develop a rook. Put it on the e-file. I'm a little wary of white's fianchettoed bishop here. Don't really have any plan. My queen, maybe, I don't know, queen c7 or something. Don't know what I'm doing with my bishop. Okay. I'm just going to, oh, does he want to trade this and then go here? Well, even if he does, there's not much I can do about it. So I'm just going to play rook b8. Just to get it, proactively get it off of this a1 diagonal. And yeah, we will let him take because I don't want his queen is on h6. Can I hit the queen? He has places that he can go. And I don't have places that I can go. That's useful. Unless you call this useful. Which it may be. I could do a minority attack. That's an idea. Okay, how do you do a minority attack? Is it just b5, b4? Isn't that... how you do it. So that's my game plan. Maybe I'll play bishop d7 first just to defend the knight on c6. Queen c7 could work as well. Okay, grab that. So we're equal on the clock here. Take a sip of my tea. And he's probably already preparing like his discovery that could be if I push the b pawn. But yeah, I don't plan to play b5 without prep. I think bishop d7 is what I'll play. The thing is, queen c7 allows me to play b5 and then bishop b7. And I get the queen off, you know, the d file where his rooks may end up. So queen c7 is... Okay, so now, yeah, queen c7 is even more enticing than it was. So I shall play it. And then I don't know. Don't really want to push my pawns. So I can't even play. Yeah, so maybe still bishop d7. Or I could take, obviously. Okay. We have a 1.5-minute advantage. So b2 is under fire. This is a little annoying. I don't really want to play h5 though, but I will. I don't love it, but it does stop any shenanigans in their tracks. And yeah. So just trying to keep this time edge. We are up a pawn, so I haven't forgotten about that. That makes me very gleeful. But beyond that, it's still a lot of work. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if I want to be pushing my pawns. He might have to go for this little maneuver, knight a3 to knight c2. Yeah, so I now like e5 is making more sense. I think I will push it. Do a quick blunder check, but yeah, we'll play it. Before I was on the fence, but now, I mean, now we have to play it, right? And he's got to go back here because I'm on his pawn. So maybe I bring Mr. Bishop out or f5. I don't know if I want his queen, but then I can force a trade. But then this falls. So let's be careful about that. So maybe d5. And if he pushes here, yeah, I'll keep rolling. So yeah, we are pushing. So like it or not. So what if he does play c4? He doesn't do it though. So maybe I go bishop f5 because then my knight can do things and my bishop is active. So let's just play that. And if it was my move here, Well, I could almost take on b3, keyword being almost, but it is something to keep an eye on. So yeah, I can go knight e4, and his queen. Yeah, let's do that. Knight e4. He grabs it. His light squares are getting very weak around his king, though. Very weak. If f3, I just go back to f5. I mean, what else am I going to do? And if rook a e1, boom, boom, doesn't do anything. Oh, did he move? Yeah, knight c2. So I could take and then check and then come in. Hello, Programming Archives. I set a new personal best yesterday on Blitz, on Lichess Blitz, 21:39. But yes, this will be a new personal best if I win. Thanks for not putting any pressure on me. I was trying to forget about that. Okay, I don't really want him coming here, right? Because like he's gonna push, and then he's got knight d4. So I'm almost wanting to take, but I can't do that. So I don't really know what to do. Yeah, I mean, again, I could get really active. Wait, what about this? Because I'm threatening queen g3. If he comes in, I've got this check. So yeah, so e4 maybe. And then if he pushes, his light squares are still weak. So I know that he can do this. And then again, he's got knight d4. So I'm just going to say that long term, the light squares around his king are just so bad. I also have a bit of a tempo move here. Or wait, do I have d3, e3? Do I have e3 here? No. Or do I? That's a weird move. Why do you do that? So taken, I can double up. I might do that. Is there a way that I can push? I don't think so. That's a strange move, though. Okay, we will take, and then I'm going to double up here. Could also double up here. It might be safer. Yeah, that's safer. Right? I mean, this is what I didn't want to have happen. I could take and then start to double up. His knight's getting too strong now. I'm going to take it off. Okay, and this is getting a little weak too, but so I don't know what he's thinking about here. And do we want to, there's no point to put it there, right? We're going to put it here. And yeah, so if he piles up on the F file, I push the F pawn. Simple as that. Simple as that. And then B rook is going to come behind the E rook. tricky. Yeah, so boom, boom, check. Should be good, right? So we do that. Oh, fike. Crap. Okay, I've got this, though. I shouldn't be trading queens, but I need to. I guess I don't have to. No, I kind of should. Okay. The thing is, rook and pawn is still Josh. That's why I don't want to trade queens here. I didn't see the check. We're up a pawn, but rook and pawn ending still Josh. That seems... Okay, so we could either take here and then take, or I could... Yeah, let's get the... No, you know what? If he wants to trade, he can come at me. I'm going to keep the queens on. I always trade queens, and usually the computer doesn't like it. Today, I keep the queens on. The reason I usually trade queens is because I get so panicked when I'm low on time. I don't want to have to try to play against an enemy queen, right? So I usually trade queens. Can I do this? No, let's just take, and then we can win a pawn here. Do I want the pawn? Yes, I do. I want the pawn. If he checks me, where do we go? Because it's kind of dangerous if I go to the H file. So I might go to F3, F6 rather. Which it's still, okay, he offers a trade. Let's give a check while I think. And then let's be quiet while I think. I'm going to go here. Yeah, I don't know. What I like about staying on the E file is king gets cut off, but I want to tie his rook down to this pawn. Okay. Let's go check. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! New personal best. I just had a new one yesterday on Lichess Blitz, and I did it again and against a 21. He was 2179, right? And I passed 2100 for the first time on chess.com. Wow, this is a win for all us old geezers. Still able to improve at a geriatric age. I am a happy camper. 2106. First time passing the elusive 2100 barrier. Taking down a 2179. Feels good. I got the endorphins running through me. Man. Because it's new personal bests are so far and few between these days. So I really soak them up when I do get them. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. I'm glad you could witness a historical occasion. Can you see that? There. So it was an Alapin, and this D3 Alapin, it's the second main line, I believe. Not very common. And yeah, I just played knight c6 to stop e5. No, I'm a very negative person, if you haven't. Yeah. The thing is, because I don't want a false rating. And that's partly why I get so upset when I play new accounts on Lichess, because that is not representative of a proper rating when it's a new account. So I just really care about accuracy in ratings. Okay, so yeah, I just played d6 to stop e5 again because he played knight f3 so that he can support his pawn. So yeah, then we could have played e6 or e5, but decided to fianchetto, and we kind of have this kind of double King's Indian. And then he played d4, so he just dropped the pawn, and that's weird. That's another reason why I think maybe he's not really 2100, right? Because yes, everybody blunders, but really this guy just blunders a pawn on move 8. And it's not like he just straight up drops a pawn. So it takes away a lot from my win, but what can I say? So I took it and just played simple moves. I didn't really have any plan here. I'm up a pawn, so I don't really need a plan. I just need to maintain the status quo. And so I'll just try to improve my pieces. The rook probably wants to go in this file that will open up eventually, so I just put it on rook e8 and move the other rook here. Mostly I want to get out of this pin so there's no surprises later on, and just preparing a minority attack. I don't know much about the minority attack. I've studied it in the past, but I never see it in my games because I don't play openings that allow minority attacks. I don't play like d4 d5 openings or anything, so I just don't see it. It's kind of amazing how often I don't see it. There's like maybe one opening where it happens. I'm trying to think. It might be like a Carol Khan, but it's just so rare in my games. Anyways, that was a plan I had here. So a6 and then b5, b4. I don't know if he should be going out of his way to be trading pieces here because I am up a pawn. And yeah, I mean, he traded 2 minor pieces. So I just don't think that's the right approach here when you're down a pawn. And so this was a good try from him, h4. And I didn't feel comfortable playing h5 because I hate moving pawns in front of my king. But if I don't do that, I think I'm giving him more than he deserves. So I played h5, and he gives me a little check, which I think is a mistake because I get e5 with tempo here. And keep pushing in the center, and I get my bishop to life. Yeah, I think he made a lot of subpar moves. Here, I didn't have any plan other than just to get my bishop active, and maybe we can do something on d3 eventually. Knight e3, getting his knight developed, pivoting it on c2 is the plan. So, yeah, just attacking his queen. Again, he trades material. I think this is the wrong approach still. And plus, it's a bishop for a knight. I think he just has to endure the uncomfortable. If he goes here, he's also hitting. I guess he can't do that because of rook a8, but still, he could just move the queen. Or I guess he can't go there because I'm hitting c3. Oh, and he doesn't want to go there. Okay, so queen b2 then. I mean, it looks bad for white, but I just don't think he should be trading material here. Because white instigated the last 3 trades, if you guys noticed. The last 3 minor trades have all been white. That wasn't even me. And so we're just getting closer and closer to an endgame where white's a pawn down. And so he's moving pawns in front of his king. His king is already exposed. I don't know if this is the best move. Maybe activate your pieces. I mean, it's very uncomfortable for white, I understand. But I don't know. I don't think you should be pushing the pawns. But I think trading the pieces was the greater problem. And yeah, I spent a long time here because I really did not want his knight going to d4. Yeah, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world. I can kick it out, but I just didn't want it. So I ended up pushing because I saw that I had this discovery on g3, and it kind of just forces some trades. If he takes, well, my bishop is super strong. Could even take with the rook. And if he pushes, and I really thought he was going to play f4 here, and I forget what I was going to do. Oh, I think I was just starting to calculate e3 at that point. Probably it's not good. So I might have ended up playing bishop g4 and then plop it on f3. So I was surprised when he didn't play f4. And so I traded here and then gave up my bishop for the knight because I started to get really worried about his knight. So I just took it off and then controlled the E file here. Yeah, so saw that I was threatening E2. He can't block it because I'll just take the queen. And he gave me this check, which I didn't see. Yeah, and then this was an interesting choice. I'm curious what the computer will say. As I was saying during the game, old me would 100% of the time trade queens here, just to eliminate any shenanigans from my opponent playing with their queen. But my queen is nicely centralized, and I am more aggressively situated with my pieces, I feel, because he's staring into rooks, right? My rooks are on open files, so I think my pieces are better. So there's no need for me to trade queens here. So I kept the queens on, but then I traded because I felt I had to. Maybe I didn't have to at this point, but but this is still a better version because then I win the a2 pawn, right? So check, and then we win the a2 pawn. And for some reason he went rook f2. I don't know what I can suggest for white though. Maybe he could have tried to be more active. Maybe rook d1 might have been the better try. Because he's close to, like, if I go too far, it's easy for me to screw up here. But yeah, just give a check. And then, yeah, he goes after my rook. So yeah, I was considering staying on the e file to keep his king cut off. I think any move here is winning though for black, honestly. But I didn't want him to have any potential of creating a passed pawn. So we did this little dance, and then he was getting a bit low on the clock, and then he kind of screwed up here. I mean, he's already losing. He's down 2 pawns, but then he actually hangs his rook. He probably wasn't expecting this move because it is kind of a weird move. But it gives my king shelter, right, to move up the board. It gives me a little bridge to walk up. And then he just hung this. And then he kept playing for some reason until I guess he made me mate him. Yeah. Okay. So how do I analyze that? Let's do game review. I think I get 1 per day for free. Okay. So let's look at that on Lichess. Yeah. So I did blunder later in the game, a couple times. That's not good. I wonder when that was. So the opening went well. The opening usually does go well. Hello, Nebula. Yeah, I think I saw you yesterday here. Yeah, so this was all fine. They just dropped the pawn. Very odd. I'm going to kind of skip through all of this because this was more or less good on my part. So I'm mostly curious about where I played a bit inaccurately. This was still all good. Now, this is the first move the computer doesn't really like, which was rook b e8. Yeah, because so queen c3. So and yeah, so it didn't like. Yeah, it didn't like this. So we only have a small edge now. I mean, -1.5. I don't medium edge. Yeah. So this was a mistake here. It wants to push d4 or queen e7, queen d6, and it's because of queen c3 followed by trading. Sorry, yeah, followed by trading would have been best. And then the rook and pawn endgame, we're up a pawn, but rook and pawn endgames are very drawish if the defending side plays okay. So this, yeah, I mean, to be fair to me, I didn't see the check, right? As soon as he played it, I cursed. So I wouldn't have allowed that. Well, wait. I don't have to block with the queen though, right? But if I don't, then I drop a pawn. So I probably do have to. And I can't go here because then I'm still pinned both ways. So it's kind of a freak accident. It's unfortunate that this just happens to. So best case scenario for me is we trade queens here. He didn't trade queens, but that's why this is bad, because then the queens are off and it's a rook and pawn endgame. Yeah, so better would have been anything else. Maybe even just moving the king would have been better. No, because there's this threat. So yeah, so d4 or moving the queen out of this pin would have been better. But he didn't trade queens. And so what's funny here is I purposely avoided the trading of queens for the reasons I just said, but the computer actually wants to trade here and then give a check and then take on d5. So I'm getting kind of mixed messages. So I don't think it's as simple as just saying trading queens is good here and trading queens is not good here. Yeah, I think one difference is in this position, after we take, we are also attacking the a pawn and we're a pawn up. And we're threatening to double up here and give mate. So it's obviously very situational. But yeah, it would have preferred I take the queen It's not like a huge difference. It's a 40 center pawn difference. It's really not a big deal. Seen issues? Oh God, how long did this happen? There, sorry about that. How long was it like that? And why did nobody say anything? Sometimes I wonder if you guys are even watching. Okay. So, where did my blunder happen? It was here. King G8 was a blunder. Very interesting. So, and he did take. So now this is a draw with proper play. I gotta say that's a little surprising. I know his king is active. Maybe his king is too active. So 2 moves here are okay. Maybe king e5 is still winning for black, but rook a7, the only move that holds the game for white. That's surprising to me because I thought you would think black is still winning here. But his king is just too active, I guess. You know, how do I defend my pawn? And I think his king is just too active. He's going to grab this one. And then I just can't do anything. Like, these pawns are fixed. So, yeah. Wow. So, where did the blunder start? Here. So, any other move is winning. Well, no, okay, not any other move, because king h8 is bad too. So, it wants to go king f6. This just scared me a little bit, because this is almost mate, but I guess it's not even quite mate. So, it wants to go up the board. And if we get to that same position here, and then rook a7. Now my king can be active as well. We can grab the b pawn, support our d pawn. So to not get stuck on the back rank while his king just has carte blanche to do whatever. So I went the wrong way. I just got scared of his other rook. But you know, I mean, I only had like a minute on the clock here, less than a minute. But this was never even a concern because this rook is leaving the board if I want it to, right? So this rook is never coming to support his other rook. So I should have just went active. Yeah, this didn't make any sense. I was scared of getting mated, honestly. I'm very pessimistic when I play, which is good in some ways. It helps me, you know, defend and be proactive in avoiding stuff. But it's bad in other ways because, yeah. So I should have just went more active with my king. Apparently king f8 is also winning. That is surprising. What's the difference with this? What's the difference here versus here? What could be the difference? What is the difference? So in that other line, which I can't find here, I'm so confused. So then he goes rook a7. Okay, sorry, this is so confusing. Not this one. So here in this line, wait, why am I so confused? It feels like we're already a tempo difference here, but that can't be. What did I do in the other? I went here, right? No, I think I probably went here, right? So in this line, what's the difference, guys? What is the difference? Oh, I see. King F4 first. I keep forgetting that. No, but Rook A7 is still the same thing. But yeah, so King F4, and then Rook A7, and then White can draw here versus versus where's I'm so lost. There, way back here. Versus this line. So what did I do in the other line here? Rook takes b3. See, this is so weird. So in this position, Black is winning. But in this position, White draws after Rook A7. And in the other position, I'm having trouble jumping between them because there's so many lines here. In the other position here, after Rook A7, there's Rook A3. So when the king is on F8, there's Rook A3, which is the only winning move. And so let's follow that logic to the other line, which is so hard for me to find. Here. So Rook A3, right? I think it's because the king, so his king comes in. King G5 or King E5, same idea to converge here. And if Black starts pushing, King F6, and that's the difference because the king cannot escape now because we cannot go to King F8 because of mate. So White threatens to give perpetual here. Is that going to be perpet though? Let's just say Black pushes. Check. Check. And then, oh yeah, and then just Rook A8. So that's the difference. Wow. When you see it, it makes sense, but oh man. Yeah, that was hard. So again, yeah, so the difference is if we go King F8 and then we follow that same sequence. Hopefully I can remember it all. Wait, whoops, here. So follow that same sequence. I think I followed this correctly. So now there's Rook A3, which, by the way, not an easy move to find. I don't think I would play Rook A3. The only winning move for Black. That is a... Okay, maybe it's not the hardest move to find, but it's not the simplest. But yeah, we protect the pawn. And then So now if his king comes in and we start pushing, wait, this would be a mistake. Oh, we can take on g3 here. So let's say he goes this way then. I guess this is still winning. Oh, sorry, I'm still a little confused, but because now if his king comes in, we see this, yeah. So now we can escape. King e8, the only saving move. So I just want to follow that same sequence when the king is on g8. It's so hard to keep. Whoops, sorry. It's so hard to keep track of this. Yeah. So if he comes in like this again, and if we take, he can draw. See, white can draw now because this is mate. Wow, this is good information. So that's the difference, eh? Wow. So because this will happen in your games. So it's when in such a position here. Well, first of all, stay centralized, right? But no, the point is king f6 is not the only move. Or maybe you mean for white. But in this position, king f8 also draws. So let's say for some reason you couldn't go to f6. Let's say there's a pawn here, or for whatever reason you can't go there. Who knows why? Maybe it'll end up in a threefold repetition, right? We'll say that. That's actually the best scenario. So say that king f6 will repeat for the third time. When faced with this, even if you don't have time to calculate everything, and that's not simple to calculate, it makes more sense to go to king f8 just because in the situation where white's king does come in, it gives us room to escape. If we go to king g8, we can get boxed in here. So that's kind of what I came up with. But of course, it's very situational. Okay. Sorry, moving on. But I was wondering the difference between king f8 and king g8. It's so subtle. And then, so this is what happened in the actual game. My opponent didn't play rook a7. I mean, we both only had like under a minute here. And oh my God, guys, we have another funny thing. The only winning move here is king g7. King f7 throws away the win. What the hell? What the hell? That makes even less sense. And this is the only winning move? What the hell? What does that even mean? That makes no sense. It's like the opposite of what we just looked at. King f7 throws away the win. Makes no sense. So let's try to figure this one out. That's ridiculous. So this is the only winning move. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, sorry. Just looking at it though it makes no sense. Okay, so this throws away the win because after rook takes a6. That is surprising. I mean, we're up 2 pawns here. So I gave this check, and then he blundered. But if he plays king e5, this pawn's gone, right? Because he's just going to put a rook behind it. So if I tried something else here, like he's always coming in. I can't stop him from coming in. So, but yeah, that's funny. But why does this win? Why does this win? Well, that's what we're trying to figure out right now, Nebula. Why does this win? What's the difference? Rook b4 and then f4? So maybe the point to go here is we stop this check. Wow. And so if we push f4 and takes Then, oh my God, it's so crazy. Computer cheats, man. Computer cheats. Crazy. Yeah, man. Who's going to see all that? Yeah, so I think one of the reasons is to stop this. Because if we follow that same sequence here, and they gave a check, right? And then king, wait, yeah, and then, so the difference is there's this check now on king, rook f6. So to see why king f7 doesn't work and king g7 does work, you have to see the idea of f4, which is not simple. So it's complicated. Some crazy sequences, and then, well, I mean, and then, yeah, he dropped the rook, but he was he was also behind on the clock. Okay.